What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bringing you guys a brand new video. We're going to be doing a mid-taper on my boy, so stay tuned. We're going to be starting off by separating the top from the sides and making sure our canvas is nice and neat. We're also doing this so we don't cut any hairs that we don't want to cut. Now that we're done cleaning up our canvas, we can move on to our foreguard all the way closed and create our first guideline. We're also going to use our comb to feed the hair into the clipper while flicking out with our guard. Now that we're done creating our first guideline with our foreguard all the way closed, we can move on to our clipper oval comb method and start to debulk the sides. Make sure to use your vertical cuts to blend and your horizontal cuts to debulk. Make sure to keep a consistent shape, especially when you're using your clipper oval comb method. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you. Now we're using our foreguard all the way open just to make sure everything's nice and blended, and we're going right above our foreguard all the way open. Moving on to our Gold FX, we're going to create our first guideline in the side taper and then move on to the back. Now that we're done shaving off the sideburns and creating our first guideline on the side taper, we can move on to the back and create our first guideline in the back taper. You always want to make sure you contour these guidelines to the shape of their head or neck. Now that we're done balding them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. You always want to make sure you make this guideline around 1 inch thick so you can spread the blend. We're then going to slightly close the lever midway and all the way closed and attack that initial guideline. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to our one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. We're then going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up this line and get it ready for the half guard. That's going to help you connect to that no guard all the way open. Now that we're done softening up the line with the one guard and our lever, we can move on to our half guard and use our corners to erase the line completely. Now that we're done with the lower guards, we can move on to our two guard all the way open and create our fourth guideline. This guard is going to help us bridge from our large guards and our smaller guards, because then we're going to soften up this line and get ready for our 1.5 guard that's going to connect to our one guard all the way open. Now that we're done softening up the line, we can move on to our 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. Sometimes there's still a faint line after using your 1.5 guard, so switching over to your one guard all the way open and using as corners will definitely help. Now I'm going back to my previous guards, which is the 2 guard all the way open, and I'm making sure it connects smoothly to the 3 guard all the way open. Now that we're done with our guard work, we can move on to our gold effects and start off at the bottom and work our way to the top arch. Remember to go slow enough that the hair feeds into the trimmer, because if not, then you won't line them up properly. Be very careful near the ear area because the skin is very soft there, so you could nick them with the teeth of the trimmer. Since we already made our first guideline, we can move straight to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. We're then going to close the lever midway and all the way close and attack that initial guideline. Now we're moving on to our one guard all the way open and we're creating our third guideline. Make sure to use your corners, especially when you're on the side tapers. Now we're getting ready for our 1.5 guard and our 2 guard all the way open. Once you're done softening up the line with the 2 guard and its lever, you can move on to your 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. Again, sometimes there's still a faint line after using 1.5 guard, so switching over to your 1 guard all the way open would definitely help. Now we're moving on to our 3 guard all the way open, and this is going to help us connect to the 4 guard that we used on the sides. Now we're using our previous guards to detail as much as possible because there is a few guidelines that I see. Here we're going back to our 2 guard all the way open, and we're making sure we remove this guideline in the middle. Now we're moving on to our clipper oval comb, and we're going to debulk the top right hand corner and making sure it connects to the top. Now this is the most critical part. We're going to use our 1.5 guard and our 1 guard all the way open to detail between the 2. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Also, if you made it this far into the video, leave a comment down below on my subscriber count. I want to see if you guys are paying attention. Now we're going to move on to our thinning shears, and we're going to thin out the parietal ridge. Now we're using our 3 guard all the way open to attack that dark spot on the top right hand corner. Now that we're done with our side taper, we can move on to his hairline and comb down his baby hairs and then line them up with our Gold FX. You want to make sure you go slow enough that the hair feeds into the teeth of the trimmer, because if not, then you won't line them up properly. Now we're moving on to our Turkish razor and Derby premium blades, and we're going to make them as crispy as possible. When you're using your razor, you always want to make sure you stretch the skin as much as possible with your opposite hand, and also keep it at a 45-degree angle. This lowers the likelihood of you cutting someone. What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bringing guys a brand new video. We're gonna be doing a height taper on my boy, so stay tuned. We started off by saturating the hair and making sure everything's nice and even by creating our first guideline through the middle of the capitis and then connecting it to the sides. This is so that it makes it easier for us to blend into the side taper and back taper. When you're using your shears, you want to make sure you grab the hair with your comb, feed it into your fingers, hold it tight, stretch it as much as possible, and then cut it evenly with your shears. Now we're connecting that same guideline we made from the top to the sides and back. The main reason why you want to make sure the hair is nice and saturated is so that you can get the true length of the hair follicle. Now that we're done cutting the top and making sure everything is nice and even, we can move on to the back taper and create our first guideline. Now that we're done balding them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. You want to make sure you make this guideline around 1 inch thick so you can spread the blend. Now that we're done setting in that guideline and getting a good reference point, we can move on to our 4 guard all the way open and begin to debulk as much as possible. Right here, you want to flick out and start to sculpt and create a shape that consists of more of a flare and a blowout look. As you can see here, we're debulking and sculpting the hair as much as possible with our clipper over comb method. Now we're using our shears to make sure everything blends in nice and smoothly. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you. Now we're heading back into our lower guards, and we're starting off by slightly closing the lever midway and all the way closed and attacking that initial guideline. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to our 1 guard all the way open and create our third guideline. We're then going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up the line and get ready for the half guard. Now that the line is soft enough, we're moving on to our half guard and we're going to erase the line completely. Now that we're done with our lower guards, we can move on to our 2 guard all the way open and create our 4th guideline. This guard is going to help us blend into the 3 guard on top, and it also is going to help us use our 1.5 guard. As you can see, the line is soft enough and we're moving on to our 1.5 guard and we're going to try to erase it completely. Sometimes there's still a faint line, so switching over to your one guard all the way open and using its corners will definitely erase it. Here I'm detailing as much as possible with my one guard all the way open and my no guard all the way open. Now that we're done with our lower guards, we're moving on to our clipper over comb, and we're going to start off at an angle and start debulking and blending at the same time. After using your clipper over comb technique, sometimes there's still a faint line, so going back to your previous guards and attacking that line is definitely helpful. When you're doing a blowout and creating a flare silhouette, this part is very important, so you want to make sure you sculpt properly with your clipper over comb. The hair near the lineup needs to be the shortest, so you're creating a little bit of a fade effect, so make sure you debulk properly so it can make it easier for you to line up, and also you create a perfect shape. Now we're moving on to our gold FX, and we're starting off at the bottom, working our way to the top arch. You want to make sure you go over this part multiple times and take your time. When you're lining up the ear area, a lot of hair comes out, so make sure you clean up your canvas so you can have a good look. Before we start off at the side taper, we're going to debulk with our clipper over comb to make sure we have a good shape. Before you begin to blend, having a good silhouette and solid base is very important. I'm also going to separate the top from the sides so I don't cut any hairs I don't want to cut. Now we're going to use our gold FX to create our first guideline, and we're going to arch it near the temple area. You always want to make sure you give yourself enough room. Now we're moving on to our shave stick and Babyliss foil shaver to remove the stubble. Now that we're done botting them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. We're then going to slightly close the lever midway and all the way close and attack that initial guideline. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to our one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. We're going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up the line and get it ready for the half guard. Now that we're done with our lower guards, we can move on to our tool guard all the way open and create our fourth guideline. Remember to flick out as much as possible because we are nearing the parietal ridge. Now that we're done softening up the line with the tool guard and its lever, we can move on to our 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. Now we're using our clipper over comb to blend into the bulk and make the fade as smooth as possible. Before we finish off the taper, we're going to separate the hairline from the top and also the side from the top more properly, and then we're going to comb down the baby hairs that need to be finished and faded. As you can see here, I'm starting to debulk the hairline with the 1.5 guard all the way open, which is equivalent to a 2 guard closed. And now we're going to go back to the taper and finish off the side. We did this so we can have a better view of what we're cutting. Here I'm going back to my previous guards and I'm going to detail as much as possible. Here I'm making sure I go to my previous guards and I'm getting out all the guidelines and detailing I see. Moving on to his hairline, we're starting off in the middle and working our way to the sides. We're making sure to keep it as natural as possible without sacrificing any crispiness. Make sure not to go too deep in the corners and keep the vertical bars as natural as possible. There's a little spot in his hair that's sticking up, so it makes it look like it's lighter or it's patched, so I'm making sure I saturate it and I lay the hair down. As you can see, the hair is nice and laid down. Here I'm using my new guard all the way open and its lever to soften up the line and remove the sideburns. Now that we're done fading the sideburns, we can move on to the back of the beard and line it up. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Also, if you made it this far into the video, leave a comment down below of my subscriber count. I'm 100% gonna reply to them. Moving on to the bottom of the beard, we're gonna use our Gorda effects to make them as crispy as possible, and we're starting off in the middle, working our way to the side jawline. Now that we're done lining up his beard, we can move on to our Turkish razor and Derby premium blade to make him as crispy as possible. But before we do that, we're gonna apply some elegant shave gel so that the razor could glide better. When using the razor, you want to make sure you stretch your skin as much as possible with your opposite hand and also keep it at a 45-degree angle. This lowers the likelihood of you cutting someone.